Cacio e Pepe No-Knead Artisan Bread. All of the delicious flavors you'd expect in that yummy Italian pasta dish full of Pecorino Romano and black pepper, but in an artisan bread. Sally that girl in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally That Girl in the Kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to make a cacio e pepe no-knead artisan bread. Yes, one of those concoctions that I decided to come up with and works. It's absolutely delicious. We're going to use the classic ingredients that you would use when making a cacio e pepe, that very just absolutely iconic Italian dish made with butter, Pecorino Romano cheese, and black pepper. And we're going to integrate those flavors into our no-knead artisan bread. And we are going to create the most flavorful, slightly spicy, a little bit of a kick, delicious bread, cheesy and spicy and buttery and so good. It's going to have all those classic flavors of a cacio e pepe, but in a bread. Imagine dipping this in some good quality extra virgin olive oil. Yum, yum, yum. I'm so excited. I am literally salivating. See what I did there? Anyway, enough talk. I am super excited to teach you how to make it. So let's not wait another second and let's get started. For today's recipe, you will need 3 cups of bread flour plus a touch more for dusting the loaf, a half a teaspoon of active dry yeast, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, a tablespoon of ground black pepper, 2 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter, 6 ounces of Pecorino Romano cheese, which you should purchase either in a wedge or in block form, and 1.5 cups of lukewarm water. You will also need some dry measuring cups, some measuring spoons, a long thin knife, a chef's knife, either a dough whisk or a serving fork, a lame or sharp knife for scoring our dough, a wet measuring cup, either a handheld grater, or of course you can use your food processor for grating the cheese, some plastic wrap, some parchment paper, and a large bowl. And you'll also need a Dutch oven with a lid. Make sure the knob is heat resistant up to really high temperatures because this bread bakes real hot. And of course, if you don't have a Dutch oven, you can use an aluminum cazuela or caldero. It works really well because it's a heavy pot with a lid. So any heavy pot with a lid that can withstand high temperatures will do. Keep in mind that many of these pots come with a plastic knob, but that is interchangeable. You can purchase a metal knob, and that way you can cook at higher temperatures. So be sure you also have a knob that is heat resistant to high temperatures. And I do feature a lot of the items that I use in my videos in my Amazon shop. So the link to that is always on my social media pages and attached to the banner of my YouTube channel. I make a small commission, so definitely check that page out if you see anything that you need for your own kitchen. And to help you put your dough into your hot Dutch oven or your caldero, you can use parchment paper or you can use a sling. This is a silicone sling, and it just helps to put the dough in to the hot Dutch oven and then, of course, to remove your beautiful bread when it's ready. And finally, you'll need a spoon and a cooling rack. So now that we have all of our ingredients and tools together, let's get started. So for cacio e pepe, you're definitely going to want Pecorino Romano cheese, but this wedge has 7 ounces. I'm going to cut off about 1 ounce because what I need is 6 ounces, so I can save that for something else or for a little snack later maybe. And then I'm going to do 2 things with this cheese. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate about 1 ounce. So I'm going to separated into two parts, 5 ounces and about 1 ounce. And then that little piece I'm going to cube. I'm going to cut it into small little cubes because in this bread, we're going to use the cheese two ways. We're going to use cubes and we're going to shred our bread. So that we can place in the fridge for later. And then I'm going to cut 2 tablespoons off of my unsalted butter stick. And I'm actually going to cube this too. But this we don't need to refrigerate. We're going to use this pretty quickly. Just set this aside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the other 5 ounces of our beautiful Pecorino Romano and we're going to grate it. I'm using the larger side of my handheld grater. You can, of course, use a food processor if you prefer, but this is real quick. It just takes less than 5 minutes to grate. And here you have your beautiful Pecorino Romano, which is crucial for a cacio e pepe. And now we're just going to set that aside for a moment, and we're going to add 3 cups of bread flour in the shape of a mound into a large bowl. Right at the top of the mound, you're going to add half a teaspoon of active dry yeast. And then around the mound, you're going to add 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, a tablespoon of ground black pepper, also crucial to this recipe. And then those 5 ounces of your shredded Pecorino Romano cheese all the way around. And then you're going to add that butter that we had cubed, that cold unsalted butter. We're just going to add that all the way around. And then once that's in, what we're going to do is we're going to measure 1.5 cups of water. We're going to heat this up in the microwave for about a minute. We're looking for lukewarm, not piping hot. And we're just going to add that all around our mound and then maybe just a touch on top. And then we're gently going to incorporate all of the ingredients, bringing the wet ingredients together with the dry. And notice how I use my dough whisk to scrape the sides of the bowl as I go along. You can use a serving fork instead if you don't have a dough whisk. Then just clean off your tool really well. And that's pretty much it. It is a shaggy dough. You're just going to cover it with plastic wrap. And then the magic is letting it rise. You just need a little bit of patience. 4 hours is what it's going to take. And put it in a draft-free spot. I like to use my oven turned off and set a 4-hour timer. And I also set out a little reminder to people not to use that oven while my bread is in there rising. And after the 4 hours have passed, you want to place your Dutch oven on a center rack in your oven, and you're going to set your oven to 450 degrees, and you're going to set a 45-minute timer to allow that covered Dutch oven to get piping hot. And when the timer is almost ready to go off, you're going to grab some parchment paper, a spoon, and your bread flour, and you're just going to dust your piece of parchment just a little bit. Then it's been 4 hours. I'm bringing out my dough. I'm uncovering it, and then I'm just going to release it onto my parchment paper, but I like to flour my hands a touch so that the dough does not stick. And then I'm just going to release it right onto that floured parchment. And then I'm going to use a letter fold. I'm going to fold 1/3, then the other third, then flip it around. And then all I'm going to do is gently use my hands and kind of cup the sides in to create that beautiful round shape. And then remember those cubes of cheese that I had in the fridge? I'm going to one by one scatter them along the top of my bread and just use my pointer, my index finger, to just kind of press them in a bit. And you only want to do this to the top of the bread. The bottom would burn, so you don't want to place them on the bottom. Then I sprinkled a little more flour on top, and then you're either going to leave it right on the parchment paper, or if you're going to be using a silicone bread sling, then now would be the time to transfer it onto that sling. And then this way, you're going to let your dough rest by covering it with your plastic wrap once again while the Dutch oven is heating. You're doing this either on your parchment or on your silicone sling. And then our bread is just going to rise another touch while our Dutch oven is getting hot. And then about 4 or 5 minutes before your timer is set to go off and your Dutch oven will be ready. You're going to uncover your beautiful dough and you're going to give it another good sprinkle of flour, and then you're going to use either a lame or a sharp knife and cut a plus at the top of your dough, and that way you control where your dough splits when baking. Then you're going to carefully bring out your steaming hot Dutch oven, and then you're going to place your dough into it, and then very, very carefully, of course, with your oven mitts, you're going to replace your lid, and then you're going to put your Dutch oven on a center rack in your oven, and you're going to set a 30-minute timer to begin the baking process. Then after 30 minutes, you're going to open your oven and you're going to remove the lid, but then we're going to place that beautiful bread right back into the oven, and we're going to set another timer for 7 minutes this time to allow it to finish baking. And after the 7 minutes are up, our bread is smelling incredible. It is absolutely intoxicating. It's golden. It's beautiful. Those little pieces of Pecorino Romano that we placed on top are absolutely incredible, and they're going to be so, so tasty. So carefully remove your bread from the hot Dutch oven, place it on a cooling rack, and then remove the sling or the parchment paper from underneath it to allow your bread to cool for at least 30 minutes. I'm setting a 30-minute timer because you do not want to slice into this while it's still hot. You don't want to flatten the beautiful air that has accumulated inside this bread and the beautiful rising that has taken place. You want to make sure to conserve that. So after 30 minutes, then you can transfer it onto a cutting board. I've served a touch of extra virgin olive oil on the side because I'm so looking forward to dipping this crusty, golden, gorgeous artisan bread, a Cacio e Pepe artisan bread. The flavors, I'm salivating just thinking about it. The flavors are absolutely phenomenal. You got a little bit of that creaminess by adding butter. Listen to that crunch. Beautiful. So crusty on the outside, and look at how absolutely beautiful the inside is. It's got a little bit of darkness running throughout. That is the gorgeous black pepper. The butter has melted inside of our bread. And of course, the exterior is absolutely beautiful while the inside is fluffy, and it's going to be so savory with that cheese, that black pepper, the little cubes of Pecorino Romano. Those pieces of cheese are a bonus because they're gonna stay sharp and absolutely delicious while the butter and cheese inside melted. Yum. So I'm bringing over a touch of some good quality extra virgin olive oil, but to be quite frank, this bread needs nothing. Actually, I'm gonna go for that end piece because I really do enjoy the end, and it's just so crispy and so fluffy on the inside. I cannot wait to taste it. Look at that beautiful texture. So beautiful, crusty, phenomenal. It really tastes very reminiscent of Cacio e Pepe. So yummy. And by adding that butter into the bread, it really helps us get that starchiness that we would naturally get when making the pasta dish. Of course, we would have been using the pasta water to help get that creaminess. So good. But in this case, we've added butter to bring out that yummy creaminess, and those pieces of Pecorino Romano on top are like crunchy, like a bonus. So, so tasty, and they remain sharp while the cheese on the inside kind of melts away with the butter and the black pepper, making a delicious, savory, slightly spicy, not too spicy, just slightly spicy bread. Flavorful, fragrant. It has a beautiful texture. It's absolutely delicious. It's divine. Let me show you a full slice once again, just so you see how beautiful it looks with that black pepper running throughout. Those pieces of cheese on the outside, beautifully floured. The bottom is crisp and golden. It's just absolutely perfect. So how absolutely phenomenal does this bread look? It has everything. It's golden, it's crusty, it's perfect on the inside, it's cheesy, it's got a little bit of a kick, you know, peppery, yum, 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 all these yummy, yummy flavors. Those bits of butter melt throughout and create just this incredible combination of flavors that you are going to try and be like, oh yeah, this is like having a delicious plate of cacio e pepe, but instead of pasta, it's in a bread. So yes, this is a really fun recipe that you can actually serve with some Italian food. Would be great. It would go great with it. Or even if you're doing a cheese board, maybe make this bread and serve it alongside with some good quality olive oil. And don't tell people what's in it and just have them try it. And they're going to be wowed because this is something unexpected, absolutely flavorful, savory, and absolutely delicious. The smells alone are incredibly intoxicating. Trust me. No, better yet, don't trust me. You're going to have to try to make this recipe yourself. And of course, if you enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like it for me, please, and share it with your friends. Share my channel with your friends. That really, really helps my channel grow and helps me stay inspired to keep filming all of these fun videos and delicious videos for you guys. So thank you in advance for doing that. I really appreciate it. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to Sally, That Girl in the Kitchen, stop what you're doing. Make sure you subscribe and touch that little notification bell so that you get notified every time I put up a new recipe video. And of course, don't forget to follow me on social media. I'm Sally, That Girl in the Kitchen on Facebook, Instagram, and on Pinterest. And I am Sally, That Girl FL on X, Snapchat, and on TikTok. And of course, don't forget my Amazon shop. You can find that at amazon.com/shop/Sally, That Girl in the Kitchen. But if you don't remember all of that, don't worry. I have that pinned to all of my social media pages, and I have it pinned to my YouTube channel, so you can find it there. Just look up Sally, That Girl in the Kitchen, and I'm sure you'll find me. So once again, I want to thank you for taking the time for watching. I want to thank you for cooking. I love when you make my recipes, and I love when you send me a picture through my Instagram or Facebook Sally, That Girl in the Kitchen pages. It fills my heart with joy to know that you're enjoying what I'm making and you're actually making these recipes yourself. So thank you so, so much for doing that. And I'll see you next time. Sally, That Girl in the Kitchen.